Beat. I'm your host, Jared Schneider, and joining me once again is Mayor Tim Johnston. Good morning and welcome, Mayor Johnston.
Good morning.
Before we get into the questions, I'll give you a chance to run things down from the past week as well as anything that's coming up.
Well, it's been a fairly busy week over the last 7 days, so I can update on a few of the events that Council participated in. The first was last Thursday. I did have an opportunity, along with members of Council, to tour the new University College of the North facility. And I can tell you, it is just a stunning building, and it's going to be an absolute thrill to see it open for students in Thompson and the North. But it is truly a beautiful building, and I look forward to when the public can see what they're building. It will be a landmark building for this community in the North. On January the 26th, I had the opportunity to participate in two events, both at the City Centre Mall. We talked a little bit about it last week. The first was the second annual Surviving the Cold event, and I was very pleased to see the response from the community in terms of support for those that weathered the cold. I was out there for a little bit, and I'll note that Councillor Robinson also was there participating, and expressed our appreciation to the individuals that took part in the event, and congratulations to the organizers. Also on that day, I had an opportunity to participate in the Family Literacy Day hosted by the Hello Parents Network, and a chance to read, and I think you were there at the same time I was there reading a story, so it's always good to encourage people to ensure that reading is put first and foremost. Literacy is a huge issue for us in northern Manitoba, and it is one of those things that really hampers our ability from an education and ultimately an employment opportunity, so encourage kids to read. January 28th, I participated in the Idle No More, first hosting a ceremony at City Hall prior to the event, and then visiting the demonstrators at the Miles Hart Bridge. I want to thank all those that participated for the peaceful demonstration. It was respectful, and I also want to thank all the residents that proceeded through that event and gained some information, and so I hope that people will move forward in terms of a better understanding and a willingness to move forward in terms of both not our only community but Canada as a whole. On the 30th, I participated at the regular meeting of Thompson Chamber of Commerce and conducted the swearing in of the new executive. I first thanked Linda Marcus as past president for the work that she did over the last 2 years, including working with the City of Thompson on a very positive relationship. And then I congratulated former councillor and now president of the Chamber, Oswald Saw, and I noted that they couldn't have picked a better individual from my perspective. I count Ozzy as a real friend, as he is to so many residents in this community, but one of the most principled individuals you'll ever meet, and completely dedicated and committed, so he'll do a great job with the Chamber. In terms of upcoming events over the next week and the next month, obviously we're kicking off February. There's a couple major things. I just want to remind people it is Heart and Stroke Month in the City of Thompson, and I encourage people to support that very important initiative, and thank all those volunteers and canvassers that are going to be out as well. And of course, February means Winterfest for the City of Thompson. We're going to kick events off 6 p.m. Thompson Regional Community Centre tomorrow night, Friday, February the 1st, with the bonfire fireworks. There's going to be some performances as well. I encourage people to come by. It looks like the weather won't be too bad, so again, 6 p.m. Thompson Regional Community Centre. There's events throughout the month, and I encourage people to contact the Rec Centre 677-7952 for more details. Also this weekend, lots of other activity around the Thompson Regional Community Centre. The North Stars are playing, I believe it might be the final home series against Parkland, so I encourage people to come out and support the team. And then the last thing I want to note, and I think that you are aware of this, is that the RCMP have issued a statement or a reminder that they're urging snowmobilers to use caution on the Burntwood River. I can tell you I was coming back on Sunday from Mystery Mountain Ski Park, and I was stunned in terms of where some of those snowmobiles were in relation to the water. And again, encourage people to use caution and common sense in and around any body of water while they're out enjoying any of our pastimes in the winter.
204-677-8181, taking your calls to the mayor, 204-677-8181. I'll go back a little bit. You had mentioned that you guys had toured UCN the past week. How did that go, and where kind of are they in the construction phases of the new UCN campus?
Well, as most people will see when they go by the property, the most of the exterior work is done in terms of getting it sealed up. They're still adding some of the windows, so you get the look of the property in terms of what it's going to look at. We were advised that over the summer they're going to do a lot of the landscaping and the road construction, so that will help in the overall area. On the inside, they're in the process of really dividing up the space into the rooms. It's going to be an absolutely stunning building in terms of both a great environment for learning for the students and a much better environment for the UCN employees and staff. So it really is going to be a great building, and it's going to be joined with a common hallway to the Thompson Regional Community Center. So it's going to be a great place for residents to visit.
204-677-8181. With the new cold weather policy and the use of the outdoor arena shelters for the homeless population, is there an update now as to where things are with that, and if they have been used, and are they still working out? Are they still working out some of the new smaller kinks?
Well, I'm very pleased to say that we are working closely with our partners, and I understand that we have now used one of the buildings, and I can tell you that we were very pleased to get the amount of support that we got to the community to make that possible. And we'll continue to monitor the program and ensure that it looks like the weather is dipping a little bit colder again, especially with wind chill. So we want to make sure, and I'm very pleased that Council and the organizations have been able to come together and make this program now a reality.
204-677-8181. With Winterfest starting tomorrow, what are some of the plans the city has in regards to the fireworks and the bonfire tomorrow night?
Well, it's always a sort of a tradition now in terms of encouraging families and residents to come out and sort of shake some of the winter blues, I guess, a little bit. And the fireworks will be held directly behind the Thompson Regional Community Center, as will the bonfire. And then, of course, there'll be free hot chocolate in the Thompson Regional Community Center, as well as I believe we've got a R&B singer performing at 6 p.m. So it's a night to try and get people out and, again, shake off some of those winter blues and take in some of the events. 204-677-8181. You were at a couple events this past weekend. I think you'd mentioned the Family Literacy Day and reading to children. And how did your experience go with that and doing that, reading to children, and seeing all the people inside the City Centre Mall? Well, it was great to see the number of people there. I mean, they had the book sale, they had the teddy bear clinic, I think, and so it was good to see the number of people. I always tell people, you know, it's amazing, you know, when you read children's books now, they're very different than certainly when I was a child, and so I always tell them, give me one that at least I'm going to make sure that I understand all the words, because so many of the books have words that are completely foreign. So it was good. They gave me a pretty simple book, and I didn't make too many mistakes, so it looked like the kids enjoyed it, and I certainly enjoyed the opportunity.
Also, Surviving the Cold you took part in that as well. What was it like doing that and being there and seeing some of the things that they were doing as well?
Well, again, I congratulate the organizers as well as the volunteers for getting out. It certainly wasn't as cold this year as it was the previous year, and it was sort of interesting because we had just gone through such a cold spell. But and I noticed people were probably a little better dressed, having been through it at least once a year. So again, it looked like the good support. The level of funding in terms of fundraising was strong, and appreciated people, dropping by and lending their support. It's, you know, there's a reality about living in Thompson, and cold weather is one of those things that we know is going to happen for sure. And we have to ensure that we have the programs in place to make sure that everyone gets through the winter in a safe manner. And I think that that's what that's about. And it's great to see the community coming together with volunteers and lending their support, both in terms of time and money.
204-677-8181. Taking your calls, 204-677-8181. Why is it important to have these two events here in Thompson, not so much on the same day, but having them and promoting them in the city?
Well, you know, one of the things that we are very fortunate in this community is that we have so many volunteers and so many different events. And I think it's all about a sense of community, and it's about expressing the concern and the caring that this community has. And it's second to none in terms of the volunteer efforts and people getting out. And these are two examples that make us a better community. So again, my hat's off to the volunteers and to those people that support. You know, I always say the community will only be as good as each of us wants it to be and contributes to it. And those are two good examples of it. We're making Thompson a better place for everyone.
204-677-8181. within regards to the jet engine facility and the cold weather testing. Have you heard anything in regards to how they're doing and how testing has gone so far this year up until this point, late January 31st?
Well, I haven't had an opportunity to talk specifically, but I did have a chance to read a recent article on the facility and the expansion of the facility, which is very positive. And I know it's a state of the art in terms of not just nationally but globally. So they've certainly had the weather to do the testing, and I understand they're full in terms of the facility being booked. So it's great news, and people will notice in and around the community. They're starting to see some of the other testers in town. This is the time. So I encourage people to please be friendly, but also use caution. Some of the individuals coming in may not be so as familiar with winter driving as perhaps we are. So just a reminder that we do have a number of visitors in our community, and please take caution.
You mentioned the visitors. What does it do for the city? What types of revenue does it bring into the city to have this great facility here in Thompson?
Well, I think that people really probably underestimate or don't fully understand the impact that winter testing has on this community. It's in the millions in terms of visitors and renting rooms, meals, and all those things. So it's a huge impact. It's one of those things that we've been very successful, and I acknowledge Thompson Unlimited and so many of the other partners in the community that make it happen, because we really had to come together as a community to promote Thompson as that site. We were, in this case, blessed with the weather, and that's a reality of what testers are looking for. But overall, it's, and I've been told by many organizations that come here that what they've been impressed with, besides the consistent weather, is the level of commitment and the support of the community. So I thank our residents for doing that. It's important to Thompson.
We're running out of time. Quickly before we go, I'll ask you, with council coming up on Monday, what are some of the things that we might see on the agenda here this week?
Well, actually, we went through the agenda yesterday. It's not an incredibly big agenda, but there are a number of public hearings that are going to be taking place. The taxi cab bylaw is coming forward. DSFM is coming forward. There will be a few public hearings. So I encourage people, as always, to get involved, get active. If they have questions, come down or speak to any of the council members. And just before I go, one of the comments that I do want to make is that we are out on the streets doing a fair bit of clearing because the snow piles had started to accumulate. So we're taking down the banks on the sides of the major roads. I like that. It does, one, it improves safety, but also, quite frankly, it brings the spring a little quicker here because we don't have as much snow to melt. So, but what it does do is it creates some potential traffic concerns. So again, I urge people to express caution in and around our equipment and patience. Our guys are doing a great job. I had some compliments on one area being cleared yesterday, but as always, safe operations, and hope everyone enjoys the next week.
And before we go, you mentioned the snow clearing. I'll just give you a minute to wrap things up for things that are coming up this week.
Well, again, the big one is with the new month coming, encourage people to get out, enjoy Winterfest, and as always, please take caution. We live in a great environment in terms of being able to get out and enjoy so many different activities, but we also always have to bear in mind safe operations, and wish everyone a good week.
That'll do it for City Beat this week. Make sure to tune in every Thursday at 11:30 for another edition of City Beat and your chance to ask Mayor Johnston more questions. I would just like to thank Mayor Johnston for coming in today, and to all the listeners, have a great rest of your day.
City Beat will be back next Thursday morning at